Good evening, everyone. Another Monday evening with the bees all day. It was 103 degrees here today in the valley, and we are still above 90 degrees here in the valley. So tomorrow they're calling for 101. So I do believe flow's over at this point. So we'll be pulling honey here soon. And got into bees over the weekend. I had to requeen 3 hives. We actually hatched a virgin out while we were in that hive. So let her stay and requeen 3 others, but they're all looking good. So I'll be checking them Thursday morning to see if they've released those queens yet. Hopefully they have. That would be a good thing because they didn't have queens. So we got a topic tonight. Summer solstice queens. Are they better? Or are the earlier queens better? And we're looking for your answers, your questions. So we'll talk about them here a little bit and go over summer solstice queens. Got some information on them today. And the queens that we grafted on July 14th would be summer solstice queens because they're going to emerge just after the solstice. So they're not going to be early summer queens. They're going to be late summer queens. So, but I heard from Charlie earlier. He's going to be a little late tonight. He's out picking up round bales, which I kind of expected him to be doing today. Hey, Nancy, Island, Tiny Creek, Rodney, Pennsylvania's in here somewhere. Island Honey, Jonathan Stevens, good to see you tonight. So Keith. So we've got a few in here right now. So let's get started with the topic tonight. I see everybody's talking about top insulation and everything in their hives for the summer and everything, how they work. Hey Bundy. So yeah, you could take Nancy. You could say bearding it, telling you have a healthy hive. Yeah, they're trying to cool it off. So, but summer solstice queens. So, how does everybody feel about a summer solstice queen? Hey, Tar Heel. Anybody want to chime in with that? Uh, hey, Chad, how are you tonight? Yeah, Pennsylvania's getting ready to requeen his hives with solstice queens. So, why did you wait till the solstice to requeen, Pennsylvania? Hey, Mike. So, Nancy, she said she's used summer solstice queens ever since she's been using formic. A new formic was going to have some queen loss, so that's why I started using the summer solstice practice. Yeah, but if you're using Formic Pro in 100-degree heat, that's why you're having queen loss. So Jonathan says, I think summer solstices do better and they're more eager eager in the fall and spring. Yeah, that can be true. So, does anybody can think about it as to, yeah, okay. Does anybody think about, okay, the summer solstice is happening. Do the bees know it's happening? Do they realize it? And does it cause some kind of a shift in the queen to start laying less eggs and to reduce their brood? Has anybody ever thought about it like that? So, I mean, that's a good way to, well, Keith, the summer solstice queen could be even one that you let hatch out. You know, it's not necessarily replacing it, but it could be a late, you know, a July queen or end of June queen. I don't see you yet, Nancy. I heard you click in. Okay. Um, so they do. Hey, Kathy, how are you? They do realize it, and they do reduce their brood laying, and they do know that those days are getting shorter, and they are starting their winter preparations right now. I mean, yesterday was summer solstice, or this weekend was summer solstice, so the days have gotten shorter, so they know it, and it's they are doing their winter preparations. Okay. So, what do we need to do as beekeepers right now? What do we need to take care of with these summer solstice bees? So, number one, the queen's going to change her behavior. She reduces her brood production. She's laying fewer eggs. And that's a natural response for her because of the change of seasons. Okay. So, we need to ensure that they've got adequate food stores. You need to connect your mic and your cam before you come in, Nancy. That's why I can't click you into the stage. Yeah, Tiny Creek, they're still bringing in some nectar, but it's not like it was because the biology of the flower, when it gets above 85 degrees, they go into shock. They stop producing nectar. They stop producing pollen. So we need to think about all that too. Hey, Clay. Um, like I was saying, this is a natural response to the change of seasons for the bees and their sensitivity to sunlight patterns. So we need to take all that for the change in the queen behavior. We need to take the summer solstice into consideration. We need to also think about their winter physiology. Days get shorter. Queen starts producing more winter bees. She's starting to lay her winter bees. So it's a longer lifespan. We all know it's a longer lifespan for the winter bees, right? So what do we need to do? As a beekeeper, what do we need to do? Can somebody tell me what we need to do as beekeepers? Kathy, can you answer that question? Haha, you didn't think I was going to call you out, did you? Hmm. Good enough. Can you answer that question? Clay, can you answer? Somebody. That's it. We need to start thinking about mite loads And the sooner you start thinking about them now, instead of waiting until end of July, middle of August to treat a high mite load, if you start treating now, then if you need that second treatment, you can do it. And you're catching it. You've already knocked it down some with the first one. Now, when you're doing that second one, you're finishing them off. Okay? Until the fall. So you do a mite wash now. You do a mite wash 2 weeks after you treat. So you know what you've accomplished. Don't depend on the sticky board, because it can lie to you. All right? So do that mite wash. Do that alcohol wash. All right? So in the solstice, a lot of beekeepers either requeen, or like Keith and some of you other guys, you let your hives requeen themselves. Okay, that's the same as me going in here and putting a queen in. You're doing the same thing. Okay? So why do we requeen? Why do we requeen after the summer solstice? Anybody tell me? Clay, you had the right answer a while ago. You got it this time? Hey, Chris. Yeah, we're going to, we talked about treating for mites. Why do we requeen? Or why do we let the hives requeen this time of year? We know they're going to requeen because they want to propagate the species, but why would they be more? Nancy, you have to hook up, you have to connect your camera and microphone before I can click you into the stage. That's part of the answer right there. Good enough. Not necessarily a brood break, unless you're going to use a brood break as a midsummer treatment. So we requeen because a younger queen tends to be more productive and less likely to swarm the following spring, making it a good investment for the following season. So think about it that way. Young queen, she's not been through a flow. She's going to go through a flow next spring. Okay. And it's a good chance she's not going to swarm because she's trying to prove herself to that hive. And if she does prove herself to the hive in the spring, then, hey, they're going to let her stay. They're not going to want to swarm. All right. So you could look at the summer solstice as the calm before the storm. It marks that turning point, and it's also a time when the hive transitions to a calmer state with less swarming activity. Okay. Now, there is a somewhat of a, I don't want to say danger because it's not really a danger, but it is somewhat of a risk, letting your hive requeen itself just after the solstice. What are those risks? Anybody got a good guess? What are the two things that we don't like to have around our queens? Dragonflies. That's one of them. That's exactly right, Highland. Birds. Birds and dragonflies eat the queens. Okay, so that's your risk. Yep, they don't make it back, Hope, because they're either eaten by a dragonfly or eaten by a bird. All right. Yeah. Now, that's partly true about not enough drones. There are still a lot of drones out there. Hey, JW. How are you this evening? So when we talk about the risks, it's the birds and the dragonflies that are not coming back. The queen's not coming back. Now, the third risk would be lack of drones. There's still drones out there. There's still drones that are flying. There's still drones in the DCAs, but not like you would have in the early part of the year. Okay. So the period after this is you're in the crucial time, the period right after summer solstice, and working with the bees while they make their winter preparations. Yeah, I'm still getting drone brood too. Yes. So those are the major points. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points right there that summer solstice queens. I have pretty good luck with it. I have pretty good luck with summer solstice queens because I'm putting a queen in. I'm putting a mated queen in, and I'm letting her stay in. And they typically accept her rapidly. She's less swarmy in the following spring, and she is good during the honey flow. She produces a lot of bees, so I'll let her stay in another season. So there's a lot of good things to be said about using summer solstice queens and doing summer solstice queens. Yep, that's right. They're just hitting their stride, Clay, because they just got built up enough to where they can hit their stride, so to speak, just as the flow is starting to end. So I don't know if you've got any sourwood going on down there or not. So, and I know JT's been having a good pickup in flow right now. Y'all got all that sourwood down there and those trees down there, so y'all are having good flow. Mine's about over. So, Nancy, did you get it figured out? Does anybody else want to come in here and talk about this too? Hey, Barnhill, how are you tonight? Yeah, most of mine look like that too, JW. I got a cell builder that looks exactly like this when I open the lid on it. So somebody else come on in here and talk about summer solstice queens and how good luck or bad luck or how they feel about it. Everybody's being shy tonight. Yeah. All right, JW, you start the discussion off. Why the bee's beard? Hey, Mike, how are you tonight? Come on in here, JW. There you are. You're like a ghost. You're fading in and out.
I'm trying. I don't know what. Well, I don't have. I don't have a green screen up. Let me get my green screen put. I hadn't planned on coming on, Bill.
That's okay. So I'm gonna let you get that discussion started.
Hey, Tom, is my mic working?
Yeah, it's working.
I just stuck my green screen up there, so
All right.
I hadn't planned on coming on. Look like you need a little help.
Yeah, a little bit.
I figured I'd throw him a life jacket.
Let me get this stuff shut back down. Okay, maybe you can hear me now.
Yep, I can hear you. I could hear you from the start.
Well, I had a lot of echo. I had about four things on my screen. Well, why do they swarm, Bill? You tell me.
Well, why do they beard? That was your statement.
Well, that's what I meant. Excuse me.
Yeah. Well, they're bearding because they're hot.
So am I.
They're really hot. They're trying to cool the hive, and that's the function of bearding. It's not that they're going to swarm. They're trying to cool that hive. And wooden hives get hot this time of year.
Yeah. Especially if they're a little dark. I've got some of that eco wood on them. It's almost black. You know, they're really bearded.
Yep. Mine are too.
And all my hives are full sun.
Yep.
So I've got some.
Do you insulate your tops of your hive?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I insulate for the winter, but I just leave it on all summer.
Yeah. I just all I use. I don't use top covers or inner covers. I use flex tex, boa wrap, whatever you want to call it, for insulation.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know when it comes to heat and this kind of weather. It's I've still got 92 degrees here at my place right now. So
yeah,
it's 97, and the heat index is supposed to have been 109 here today.
Yeah, it's 90 here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually 103 degrees here today.
Mm-hmm.
Actual air temperature.
We never got that temperature wise, but we got it. You know, we got heat index. I don't know what the humidity is. I didn't even look, but it's hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
I'm hot. It was hot. In fact, I went fishing this morning. I said, I need to be in some. And I thought I'd go back out there late. I just come back in from my bee yards. I thought I'd go back out there late. And like I said, every one of my, not everyone, but doggone near every one of my hives looked like about like your backdrop.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bother. I got enough problems.
Yeah, I took pictures of mine last night, and I got one real big hive, and it just from the top cover all the way down, and then hanging down off the bottom. There were bees all over the front of it.
Yep.
So
I got some double deeps with four mediums on top of them, you know, and they're just like you said, it's top to bottom on the front of them and half the sides.
Yep.
So
go ahead.
The hives that I've been in, I made some gaps trying to get them. I've got about half and half. I got about half screen bottom boards and half solids. I can't tell if it makes any difference. The ones I got, I never ever pull them out completely where I got a full screen on my bottom boards. I never hardly ever go over about half. I figure if I don't give them enough flow, they're going to die anyway. So I just never take the screens completely out of my screen bottom board. But I got about half and half. And to be honest with you, I can't tell a nickel's worth of difference.
Yeah.
You got to remember, heat rises.
Yep.
Pardon me?
Heat rises. It doesn't sink out the bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You want to get rid of heat. You might want to, do a little vent. I vent, but I do that all year long. That gets into the whole controversy of.
I'll
when
slide the
people
box
vent.
open and give them an eighth of
Yeah,
an inch or
people
so.
stick a quarter or stick or something under the top. Just let a little bit of air out of there.
Yeah.
I do that a lot. I've got about everything. You know, I've got a vent in them. You know, a stick or a board, or I cut little strips, about 1/8 inch strips, and I'll stick into them, and then I'll slide. I'll slide one of my supers and leave a little gap if but it's not calling for big, heavy torrential rains. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the answer to the bearding, but I guess if it about the fourth of January, they'll probably bearding will surely be over then. But then,
Oh, I'm sure it will be. It'll probably be over in November here.
Yeah.
So now I run nail hives as well.
Yeah.
And I've got those 4 vents on the top.
Yes.
That's the only vent for the whole hive is on the top. And it works like you can actually feel the air coming through it. It works like the gable end on your house.
Yeah.
You get on one side, you can feel it. You can kind of feel the air coming past your fingers going in. You get on the other side, you can feel it coming out on the other side, going past your fingers going out. But those hives do not beard whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, and they work. They're continuously working.
Yeah.
Even in 100-degree heat, they're working. So.
Well, I had a few apimays, and to be honest with you, and I'm not knocking them. I wasn't in particularly wrong with them. It just didn't fit my operation. I let Tom Sauceman have all the apimays that I had, because I just, I'm just an old man hobbyist, so to speak, with a lot of hives. But I'm trying to, they're just, if you got all that different type of equipment, it makes it hard when you go to buying, frames and adding supers and.
Yeah, well, see, now the nail hive that I run will fit a 10 frame wood super on top of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I use them, because when I strip all my honey off, there's my winter setup right there.
Sure.
So
I hear you 100%. I've still got 11 or 12 10 frames, but I've went to about all 8s, and I use 5 frame stuff for all my reproduction activities, whatever that may be.
Yeah, I'm using 8 frames for my cell builders and 5 frame double nukes for my mating nukes.
Yeah. Do you actually use the actual 5 frame, or are you splitting 10s for your?
No, I'm using a 5 frame that is actually wider than a 5 frame. It ends up being about a 6.5 frame.
Yeah.
And then I divide it, and it gives me 2 3 frames.
Yeah.
But when I order them, he calls them 5 frames.
Mm-hmm.
So JT asked a good question. Good question. So he wants to know if everybody are they just requeen, or they do splits with new queens?
I do splits with new queens. So what I'll do is, I'll take resources from the old queen, whether it's 5 frames or whatever is appropriate. I'll drop a new queen in there, and then for lack of better words, I exploit the old queen. I'll try to get honey out of her for the rest of the season. We sometimes get fall flows here, and I'll give her a chance to overwinter, but I really have no expectation. The only problem with that is you grow your apiary pretty fast. It gets big.
Mm-hmm.
And I was literally down to 2 hives. I had 10 this weekend if I'm counting my splits, and I got rid of 2 of my nukes. So I'm at 8 hives right now. I'm actually thinking about maybe getting rid of a couple more nukes, just to, while I'm getting a little stronger.
Yeah.
But
So what do you do, JW?
You want to know the truth? You got your volume low enough that I couldn't tell quite what he
I'm
was saying.
sorry. Very weird.
Hang on a second. I'll put it back up as soon as I find it. There it is. So do you guys and ladies just requeen, or do you do splits with new queens?
I do a little bit of everything. I like double screen board splits and OTS. I do a lot still. I'm old school. I still do a lot of OTS splits.
Yep.
You know, so
do we.
I don't like to buy queens, but I do on occasion. But my experience over the years, and just my own personal experience now, I'm not preaching one over the other, but swarm cells, in my opinion, I'm like Bob Benny. Swarm cells make the best queens.
Yep, they do.
I really, I'd rather have them if you can get them. But I've got, this is in my background scene, there's one apiary, and on the other side of the trees, I got another yard. And in between those two, and this is on my main farm out there. Then I've got a pond, but it's, boy, I tell you, you talk about getting salsa queens back. And all my neighbors around me, I got a lot of farmers that's got, and I've got a few, but I don't have them near like some of my neighbors of the barn swallows and the martins, purple martins. So.
Mm-hmm. So are you running for office somewhere, JW?
They're after me. I'm always ragging them about politics, and now they're accusing me.
They're after you now, huh?
Oh,
okay.
Bill, you just need a little help. Come on in here, Thomas, and all.
Yeah, come on in here, Tom. Don't be bashful. We don't bite much.
I'm just trying to help you get started. So.
Yeah. So it's hard to carry on a conversation with yourself sometimes. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah, we had Joy and I had that problem Saturday night. We couldn't get anybody to come on hardly, so what we do is just cut her off at about 45 minutes or so, if nobody wants to participate. So
there you go. That's the only way to do it.
I just realized, Bill, I called you Tom earlier, didn't I? Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'm not insulted. Yeah, Tom might get insulted, but not me.
It starts something.
Well, come on in here and shoot a couple times, Tom.
Yeah, far across the bow. We'll see who's the toughest.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stay too long. I hadn't planned on coming in, Bill. I just come in from the farm.
Well, I appreciate it, JW, even if it's just for a couple minutes.
Yeah. I don't have any. I'm not a vast working knowledge of information. All I am is just a big aggravator. I like to kid and aggravate people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Nancy says you guys make me laugh. It's all about having a good time and spreading what knowledge you do have, right?
Yeah. I can do all that. I can spread all that knowledge I've got in about 35, 40 seconds probably. So.
Yeah.
I'm not a.
Some people might argue that fact, JW.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I don't even attempt to put out information that's better than just, I'll throw out an opinion once in a while, and that's about it. So.
There you go. Yeah, but somebody's been around as long as you and I have been, opinions matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I might have a day or two on you even.
You might.
Like 20?
Yeah, you might. You might. Tom, we won't harass you too much.
It's I don't know. Everybody's got different ways, and there's no right. Well, you talk about what to do on these bees. There's no right way and wrong
No.
way. The right way is whatever worked for you. That's what I tell these young folks trying to start off. I said, do a little experimentation. Don't be afraid to try stuff. And
Yep.
I told these guys I did a little chat with Tom Sauceman there and at Ramsbottom. We're all buddies and talked back and forth to one another all the time in text. And I said, my bees, and I'm just going to lay it out there and tell you like it is. My bees aren't drawn out supers to, I'm talking, drawing out or filling out the supers to suit me. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why. I don't know if I've got an unknown problem and I'm not smart enough to diagnose or if anybody's got any thoughts, why? Throw them at me.
I've got a hive that's the same way. They're doing what they want to do, and you can't change it. You know what I mean?
I've got several of them. I mean, that's not just one. I'm going to say I've probably got in my right here behind me, there's 27, 28 in this right here behind me, but the soup barn yard. And then I've got another yard with 17, and I've got another little old yard up the road that's got 11 in it. So if I'm just not over satisfied with my whole apiary situation. Yeah, maybe the Illinois bees are lazy. You may be right there, old buddy.
Well, the Connecticut bees are lazy this year too.
Yeah, I got some lazy Virginia bees
I think what we're dealing with this year is every time we get some kind of flow, it gets interrupted by a rainstorm.
Well, that's partial. I've had
so if
they're
inside in the rain, they're consuming their food. They're not getting food.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I had this really strong hive that ended up putting 4 supers on, and the supers were all mostly filled, and that was about a month ago, and I haven't seen any progress since.
If you're like me, I still got all mine on. I just like to pull twice a year, and I've got some full supers that's on there, but
yeah, I would usually have a honey harvest sometime in June, and that's not happening this year.
Yeah, I get one a year.
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but last year I actually pulled a couple of times after my main pull, because I was getting honey bound, so to speak.
Yep.
And I always leave at least one full. I run basically double deeps or one deep and medium from my brood chamber, and then I always leave one super above that for honey stores for my bees. So that's just my own way I operate. I don't know, but this year I'll just tell it like it is. I don't know just what it is. I had more swarms this year than I've had in the last 10, put together.
This year, knock on wood, I've had one swarm, and it went right to my swarm trap, and I got it back.
Yeah. When I had 14, I got 12 of them back. I was aggravated that one of them, I got it back, but I gave it to my neighbor. He was wanting the hive. I said, well, take these suckers. They don't want to live here. So I give them to him. So.
Yeah, this year it has been a strange year for everything. It's been a really crappy year to raise queens because it's been so wet.
Mm-hmm.
And my flow's been all right. But I know there's people in the Shenandoah Valley that they haven't gotten hardly anything.
Yeah.
So, hey, Mark.
Well, I don't know if I got enough hair to get in this conversation or not.
You may be marginal. How you doing,
I'm
Mr.
good.
Miller?
How are y'all?
I'm good. Good and hot.
Yeah, I've been sitting in the air conditioning all day, just riding around.
There you go. Seeing the sights, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Somebody took my load Sunday, carried it to Durant, Oklahoma, and then started to take his 10-hour break and realized he had the wrong load.
Oh no.
So my boss called me at 10 o'clock last night and said, don't worry about getting up early. Somebody's got your load out there at Durant. So I got up about 9 o'clock this morning and went into work at 10. And I've done been to Russellville, back up to Little Rock, to Batesville. And I'm just going to call it a day.
There you go. So did he come back and get the right load?
Well, I met him in Russellville and got my load and give him his load.
Ah, okay.
So I'm basically starting my Monday in the morning.
There you go.
Put me a day behind.
Yeah. Huh?
Lovely.
Yeah.
I really need to be a day behind. You know, it took me all weekend to mow the yard.
Yeah. Well,
Time I got the tilling done, I tilled my peas and the rest of my garden and got into the mowing and weeding. Before I knew it, it was Sunday evening. Of course, I had to trap coons was in my sweet corn, and you know, it's just everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out some trapping information. People think I'm the biggest liar in the state. I laid in the hospital 4 days last week. I have, my potassium goes down on me, and I have to go in and get straightened up, I guess. But anyway, I was laying over and I figured up in the last 5 months around this my apiary is right here. And this is my main farm area. I've trapped, believe this or not, 99 coons, 14 skunks, and 3 possums.
Since when?
And since about the January the 15th, that's when I about started.
Wow.
In live traps. Every one of them in the live trap. That's how many varmints I've got around my place.
Well,
I
I've done
don't
away with
have that big a problem, but I
I've
do
done
have
away
a
with a
problem.
few groundhogs around here.
Oh, I love groundhogs. I leave them underneath all my storage boxes. I like to play with them. I've got them all named, and they'll come out and eat right in front of me. I love. I like my woody chucks.
And I've only caught one skunk this year.
I've got 14.
Mm.
And I know I still got 1 or 2 around because I smell their remains every now and then.
Yep. Hey, Roy.
I got a question, JW. How you keep from catching a cat in them live traps?
You know, my cats are broke to them. I bait with cat food. I really do. And my cats are broke to them. They won't go in them. And that's a fact.
They've been caught enough. They won't go in it because they know what it is.
Well, a cat's pretty smart. You catch one in a trap about once, and he probably won't be back in there.
Yeah.
And he'll run. And he won't let the rest of them go in there either.
Yeah, I use them egg traps.
Yeah.
And you just break an egg and put down in there, you know.
Yeah.
It worked pretty good.
All I use for them is because I feed my barn. They're all barn cats. They're not underneath your feet type, cats.
Yeah.
But I do feed them, and that's part of my problem. What draws the coons up or the OSK where I feed them cats.
You're feeding the whole forest.
Yeah. And I'm surrounded by trees and timber and stuff. So
yeah.
Now, Highland, if I put in sardines or stuff, I'll have every cat in the county.
Yeah, you will.
That's the reason I just use cat food because the cats are used to eating and they won't go in the in those live traps.
So John from Westcliff wants to know how you clear a skunk from a live trap.
All you gotta do, John, is cover him up where he can't see, and you can pick him up and take him wherever you want to.
Yep.
I won't say I've never been. I've probably caught 40, 50 skunks in my life, and I've never been sprayed but one. But I just carry an old beach towel, an oversized towel, and I can just cover the whole trap, and then I can reach down and pick up the handhold on the trap. That's the way. And I shouldn't tell you this. I've got quite a bit of river bottoms ground and up the road about 15, 20 miles, and I take everything up there, and then all the coons I paint. And last winter I painted them. This year I'm painting them blue. Last year's sketch I painted yellow. And I've got a couple guys that coon hunt run their dogs up there. They go screaming this and that. You got every coon in this bottom painted yellow up here. Well, I've told you all my stories I know to tell. How's your operation going, Mark? You getting anything accomplished?
Not really. I ain't been able to get into bees too much because I've been busy doing everything else.
Yeah.
That makes two of us.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just glad my wife works them.
I swore up and down I wasn't going to have a garden this year, but look at me now. I got two great big ones. But everything's looking good if I can keep coons out of the corn.
Well,
that's why you don't have any hair. You know that, right?
Bees eating
because you got that garden.
Eat everything I got.
I ain't got no hair because of my old lady. She worries me to death. See.
I can't say that about my wife yet. Because if I did, I'd be working bees by myself.
Well, my wife is the worrier out of us two. She worries to death about stuff.
Yeah.
I don't. I let it slide off my back. I don't worry too much.
Right.
Well, she worries about everything.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling. I've had the same one for 60 years now, so I'll let her do the worrying.
Yeah.
Yep. She does the worrying and pays all the bills. I just make the money and hand it to her, right?
Yep.
Highland, my wife feeds the squirrels, and I don't know. Did anybody happen to tune in to Joey Saturday night? I've got a doe that comes in my backyard, and I actually live in the edge of town. I don't live on my farm premises. One of my sons lives on my main farm premises. But anyway, I've got an old doe that's coming in. My wife, she feeds the squirrels and the birds feed, and that doe comes in I videoed her while Joey and I was trying to scream a little bit there Saturday evening, and Joey he posted it. She's got smart enough. She comes up, and my wife feeds those squirrels or the birds in them hanging feeders on like shepherd's hooks, I'll hang out there for her, and she feeds them up every day. And that old doe, she's got twins back here behind us. She'll come up there and shake them feeders. She got my wife mad. She bought about a $25 fancy hanging feeder, and the old doe jerked it off and busted it. But she'll shake them feeders to get that bird feed out of them. And I've got a video of it that Joey posted it there in just 30, 40 seconds. I stepped in the back door, and I've got a kind of an arch made for the wife. She likes flowers, and I hung petunias on there for her, just in hanging baskets. And that old doe has eat every one of them petunias just about up to a nub.
Oh, Lord.
And within 20 foot of the back door,
You're going to have to set you a deer feeder out and feed the deer.
Lord, I feed a bunch of them, Mark.
Well, you got two little ones there, so you'll have 3 big ones here before long.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got more than that.
Get you a bag of corn Get you a bag of feed corn and just put it in a bucket and set it out there underneath the tree. They'll come get it.
I
Yeah,
know that very well.
get you a big piece
But
of
I'm
PVC
gonna tell you
pipe.
what, my wife feeds about just about a half a bushel a week of
Wow.
corn and sunflower seed and everything known to the man to the squirrels and the birds and the deer.
Mm.
Um,
You're gonna have to set an obstacle course up for the squirrels
Yeah,
so they get some activity before they get to eat.
they'll figure it out.
I'm trying to look here.
So, Mark, Tom wants to know where you're at tonight.
I'm in Batesville, Arkansas.
You hear that, Tom?
Sitting in Walmart's parking lot. Getting ready to go back here and cook me some dinner.
There you go.
We having chicken, green beans, mashed potatoes. I don't know what else is in there.
Well, there you go. That's a good
Yep.
dinner.
Yep. It's better than McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. McDonald's make you fat. So,
Big city of Batesville.
Do they have they used to have a Spartan plant there, I think. You familiar with what I'm made car horns? They still got one of them down there, you know.
I don't know, but I'm sitting right across from where they make the bad boy
mower.
mini tractors,
Okay.
the little tractors.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of them over here.
Okay.
Bad boy lawnmower stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. They got a couple chicken plants. That's about all I really know of. I don't know if that old Spartan plant's here or not anymore. Probably not.
If I was guessing, I'd say no, not also. But I was just curious. I thought maybe do those places, maybe you might have seen a sign on the
Yeah.
building or something.
I think they got a dairy or something here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a process, where they, I think it's just basically like a drop off place.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got here in town, we've got a dairy farm. One of those robotic dairy farms. Milkers controlled by a computer. They're all automatic.
Yeah. I've got 3 of them within 2 or 3 miles of my main farm premises. One of them milks 3,400 head a day.
Good Lord.
It's all they're on those merry-go-round.
Yep.
There's computer deals and the merry-go-round too, and they milk 24 hours a day.
Wow.
I worked in dairy farm when I was a teenager. We did about 200 a day, and that was a job then.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the advancement now is a lot different than what it was then. I can tell you that.
Yeah. We had to get them up early in the morning. It seemed like we started about 2 o'clock in the morning. Had to get them all together, and then when we got done milking, we had to clean all that up, and then we had to go feed all the calves and take care of them, and then turn around and milk again. And the old men, they'd get a nap in, but us young guys, we had to tend to all the calves and stuff.
Yeah. When then you do your evening milk, you do the same thing again.
Yep.
All over again. Yeah.
Yep. That's one thing I'm glad I didn't do when I was a kid, work on a dairy farm.
And it was 7 days a week.
Yep, 7 days a week. No breaks.
No break. Unless somebody come in and filled in for you, you didn't get a break.
Yep.
Well, had beef cattle for years, and I love my cows, but I don't want nothing to do. I was like you guys. I worked on a dairy farm as a kid, and that was the end.
Yeah.
The dairy that I worked for was kind of the low area, and we had a lot of they had Holsteins and a lot of mastitis. You know, it's doctoring them things and stripping that old mastitis out of them. And I started me on dairy operation, and I don't want nothing to do with them. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned my lesson early. But then I went from there to a slaughterhouse, and I was about 16, during the summer. They put me in there with the guy that kills the cows. And that was a job.
I bet.
He said, jump down in that chute, grab an ankle, grab him by the leg, put a chain around him. I said, man, that cow down there kicking, I'm not about to jump down in that chute. You've lost your mind.
Mm-mm. Let's change the subject on that. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, really.
That was a job at 16, though. That was an experience.
Wow. Yeah, I grew up on a beef cattle farm. That was enough.
So you've cut your share of hay then, hadn't you?
Yeah, I have. I've cut my share of hay. I've harvested my share of corn and soybeans and oats and rye and everything else.
Yeah.
And I've ground my share of feed. So,
Yeah, I know all that scenario, every bit of it.
yep. So,
Well,
yeah,
Bill, I wish I knew what to say that would get us back on the bees, but I don't know.
well,
Well, it's getting harvest time for
yep.
me. I don't know, depending on if my sweet corn patch is ready this weekend. If it ain't, I'm going to start harvesting some honey.
There you go.
I got to
Yeah,
get started.
I'm gonna get started this week too. I got a lot to harvest, so.
And I got to make some splits. At least 10 splits I got to make up for some queens.
Yeah. So I went and pulled one of them frames today. They're capped, but today's like day 7, day 8. So I got a couple days, but I'm gonna cage them tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and get it done. That way you ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah, if that way they come out a little early, they come out a little early. That's fine.
They're going to do that as hot as it is. Guarantee it.
Nancy, you're behind by a couple months there.
Come on, let's go.
She's saying right where she should be in April. It's June.
Come on.
Well, guys in our area is getting ready for the July flow.
Yeah. What are you getting in July down?
Soybeans, cotton.
Yeah, that's why
They haven't been able to plant. We have a massive flood on that side of the river.
Yeah.
And some of them are just now getting planted, so these guys, they're hauling the bees to the Delta out there getting ready. Said they ain't made no honey, so they're going to try to make honey off of beans.
Yeah. Well, we got beans in the ground too, and we were late getting them in. They're only about 4 inches tall. So.
Well, that Delta ground, they do pretty good down there because that ground is so rich alongside that Mississippi River,
Yep.
And the beans just produce better, hill ground up there where I'm at, I might get a little bit, but it ain't enough to speak of, really.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, Bill. You're a farmer, and I'm familiar with farming. I've got farm ground. I call them sod busters. I was always in the cattle business, so the row crop farmers, I call all of them sod busters. So
Yeah, I
when
grew
you
up in the
think about
cattle.
flow or soybeans for uh, for nectar producers or pollen producers or honey flow producers.
They are a better pollen producer than they are a nectar producer. They give you a little bit of nectar, but not much. It's mostly pollen, um, and it's a light colored pollen.
Yeah,
It's not a yellow. It's a real light colored pollen.
yeah. I think mine and some of this GMO modified stuff, I don't think they work at all, around me here in
I
my
don't think they do either. I mean, what we plant, it's a little bit of a modified version of the bean, but it does produce some pollen. Not much nectar, but it does produce some pollen. So it's okay. It gives them something in the fall, some pollen in the fall, other than goldenrod and ragweed.
I don't think goldenrod and Mary don't make any nectar to speak of. It's sometimes pollen source and sometimes a nothing source.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
yeah, we got
That's my area.
fence rows of it, full of it. That and ragweed.
So mine's just now starting up. I've got a lot of milkweed, elderberry, sumac right now.
Thistle.
Salmon's just finishing up. It's just about done. Salmon trees. I get a lot of pollen off persimmon. I've got a lot of persimmon trees.
Yeah, the persimmon's usually a pretty good honey.
Yeah, my
That's a good
hive's
nectar.
pretty well plugged out with all the pollen they need in my what the brood boxes I've been in.
Yeah.
Do y'all have a lot of them possum grapes up that way, JW? Them old wild grapes?
I know what you're talking about, but we haven't a few, but not a lot. No.
Yeah, the trees
They
down
sprayed
my
so
area are
many.
just covered with them.
Yeah.
It's a good flow down where I'm at.
Yeah, we used to have a lot of that kind of stuff around here. Those wild grapes, and I don't see them anymore.
Well, grapes are not very tolerant to spray. When
Yep.
a little bit of a drift to kill grapes. Even them possum grapes are wild grapes.
Yeah.
So that's the reason they do so much spraying. They don't trim up the right of ways like the high lines and stuff anymore. They spray them, and that kills a lot of that
Yeah.
Yeah.
type of stuff. We're in our area.
We have a wild cucumber too
Yeah.
down in the river bottoms. It
Mhm.
grows wild cucumber too. It's usually pretty decent flow about this time of year.
Is it truly wild, or is it cucumbers that people have thrown out and just
Uh,
volunteered?
Now that don't ask me, I don't know, but it's wild is all I know.
Okay.
It's a wild cucumber. Grows all in the woods, up on trees, fence rows.
Yeah, and we have what they call a wild carrot here that has a pretty good bloom and flow. If there's enough of it around.
Yeah, we used to have wild carrots too, but
Yeah.
don't see those anymore either.
Well, there's a few of them around still. Most of it's in road ditches that haven't been sprayed hard. So trouble is, any more of these road commissioners and so forth, the rural road commissioners, about the time this milkweed and sumac and stuff gets right, they come along with them big bat wing mowers and knock everything off down.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So now we do have sumac around here.
Yeah.
And we got poison ivy and poison oak. So
Yep.
Yeah,
they'll
we
get
got
it.
plenty of that too.
That stuff blooms too.
Yeah.
it does.
They'll collect it.
Yep. They'll collect anything that blooms that they can get to. So
My main flow right now is Dutch white clover. I've got a neighbor that's got 10 acres of doggone senior moment of asparagus. Of course, asparagus is and he plants that Dutch clover. He's got solid 10 acres within 100 yards of this picture. It doesn't belong to me. It's my neighbor's, but all my bees are headed for that Dutch clover patch. That 10 acres. It ain't about 200 yards from this apiary here. This I got in my backdrop.
Yeah, I've got
Loading up.
I got an acre and a half sunflowers.
I can't have sunflower here. They're deer eat faster than I can plant them.
Mine about right now they're about 4 foot tall or more. So
I planted them a couple of years ago, and it come a big wind and blew them all to the ground.
now we've had a couple good windstorms that hadn't affected them.
I think the shorter versions are better. You know,
Yeah,
they make
these are
a
the big
tall one
giant
and a
ones.
short one.
Yeah, these are the big giant ones.
I think the shorter ones can hold up to the wind a little better. Them big tall ones, man, they get blowed over easy.
I'm gonna show my ignorance, Brian Schaefer. What's comfrey? What is comfrey?
That's like big salve, ain't it? Like you put on your feet.
I'm serious. I don't know what comfrey is.
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
It's Vic salve. You rub it on the bottom of your feet and put your socks on.
I'm 100% know what Vic Saf is. I still use it. I don't put it on my feet. I stuff it up my nose. My nose.
Well, you put it in the wrong place. Put them on the bottom of your feet. Put your socks back on. Go to bed.
Yeah.
You get up next morning, you'll feel better.
That's what a lot of folks tell me.
I got a picture of it if you want to see it.
You get you about 3 hits of moonshine too before you go to bed.
There you go.
That
So I got a picture of it.
Stay under the cover.
Comment on the whiskey. I'm not a teetotaler by any means, and I do not like whiskey of any kind.
Well, you get you 3 hits of that and get under the bed sheets and don't come out till you sweat it out.
If I had 3 hits of it and crawled under the bed sheet, I wouldn't come out.
Yeah, me too, buddy.
Okay.
So that's comfrey right there.
Okay.
Well, read what it is.
It looks like kind of like hang on a second. Let me pull it up here.
I plant the hyacinths and cosmos for garnish for the bees, but I've got quite a bit of that and sweet clover around, but the comfrey's a new one on me, so.
I put zinnias out in the garden.
Yeah.
All right, it gets approximately a foot to foot and a half in length, and they use it for accelerating compost decomposition. It's a brewing nutrient and compost for tea. Use the leaves as fertilizer.
Is it a perennial or an annual?
It is a perennial.
Okay.
And it's used for medicines for fruit trees, providing food for bumblebees, breaking up compacted soil, animal fodder, excellent biomass, and potential medicinal properties.
Sound like a pretty good plant to have around.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Highland said you may be thinking of camphor instead of comfrey for for the
No,
Vic Sav.
it says comfrey.
I'll talk to Mark.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I think Vic Sav's got comfrey and eucalyptus in it. You know.
Yeah, I think it does too. But now they do make a comfrey salve. Let's see what they use that for.
Where are you located, Brian? If I may ask, Brian Schaefer, where are you located? Comfrey, I thought I knew about at least the farmer name for all this stuff that grew around, but that's a new one on me. And I don't think with the picture that I've seen it before, and I'm 81 years old.
So comfrey salve has comfrey, horsetail, St. John's wort, extra virgin olive oil, beeswax, pine pitch, vitamin E, shea butter, lanolin, essential oils, lavender, eucalyptus, tea tree oil, lemon sandalwood, thieves, frankincense, and thyme in it.
Good.
The salve.
Wow.
It's used. Do not use it on open wounds.
You rub that on you and go out in my yard, they're going to be buzzing you pretty hard.
It heals bruises, sprains, fractures, repairs tendons, ligaments, and connective tissue. Improves mobility, reduces swelling, decreases pain, soothes irritated skin and sore muscles, osteoarthritis, back pain, joint pain, arthritis, sports injuries, and accidents. That's what it's used for.
Okay. I'd call that, I'd kind of like the old asafoetida bags that Mom used to mix up for me when I was a kid.
Yep.
You remember the asafoetida bags?
Yes, I do.
Mark?
I don't know.
Kirk, you remember the asafoetida bags you got, huh? You don't know what I'm talking about, huh?
No, never heard that name.
Oh. How about you, Bill?
Oh yeah, I remember them. I know what you're talking about.
Almost gag you. They stunk.
Yep. Just like if you get the flu or get a cold.
Yep.
Yep. Mom or grandma would fix you a hot toddy, hot tea, a little bit of honey, a couple capfuls of Southern Comfort, and send you to bed.
Yep.
Well,
next morning you're fine.
I've done that.
Yep.
And then they used to give you cod liver oil too.
Oh yeah. That'll clean you out.
Yeah.
And won't be long doing it either.
We use kerosene on our britches legs for chiggers and ticks.
Yep. Yep.
That and powdered sulfur.
Yep.
You go to the berry patch.
And God help you if you cut your finger or cut your arm or something on the farm, because you were going to get kerosene and pine tar on it and wrap it up with a rag and electrical tape around you.
We used to have them old kerosene heaters. They stink the house up. Woo.
Yep.
I wonder how we even breathed.
I know.
Didn't know any difference.
No, we didn't. Now you like one of them things people will be wanting to put you in jail.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Schaefer, you taught me something tonight. You taught me something I never knew. I didn't know about comfrey, and I don't think comfrey grows in my part of the country, but should. I mean, Nebraska's further north yet. But I don't know. There's Mr. Todd Prater, my bestest old buddy.
Yeah.
He's my honky tonkin' buddy. We go chewing and chasing women.
Now I still go out and harvest mullein.
Yeah.
It helps break up stuff in your chest. I still smoke a little bit of that whenever I get congested. I'll stick it in my pipe.
Yeah, we use the mullein. Mullein is a good municipal plant in our area. It's growing good right now. It's blooming right now.
Yeah, it's blooming there at home too. Is it okay to get it when it's blooming or after the bloom, or you need to get it before bloom, reckon? Would it matter?
I don't get it, period, but it is highly municipal in the plants. You make tea and stuff out of it. The people that's into that stuff.
I'll get me a couple of plants and hang them in my barn, you know, and
Looks
if I
like the
get
guy.
congested, I'll just go out and stuff some in my pipe and smoke a little bit of it, and it'll relieve that congestion in your lungs.
Mm-hmm. Your
Well,
buddy
I'm out
Todd.
of big livestock business, so.
Your buddy Todd says he has no clue what the heck comfrey is, except maybe a weed, and we don't have that foolishness out here.
Well, you won't remember where he comes from. He's from California, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He won't be around much longer. He's gonna fall off. And I keep telling him it's gonna fall off where he's at. He'll be in.
Yeah, if it shakes a few times real good out there, it's gonna fall off in the ocean.
Yeah, either that or they're gonna give it back to Mexico.
Yeah, one of the two.
No.
And then he'll have to have a passport to get out of California.
Yeah.
Mm.
How about let's do a little more talking about a little bit of plant that actually my neighbor, I had some old time neighbors, and he passed away. And it made pretty good bee forage was God. Here we go.
It's buried too deep, JW.
Give me a time to think of it.
Well, you done got this far, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, I had it on a minute and I got ready to say it, and it all left me.
Yeah.
You guys will get old one of these days.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still spring chicken.
Oh, it's got a purple bloom on it, Bill. Vetch, hairy vetch.
Yeah.
Vetch. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a bunch of vetch. I got a whole lot of it around my house.
That's what I'm trying to say is.
They come in there now. I don't understand this, but it's vetch, crimson clover, and ryegrass, and he'll plant about 400 acres of that.
Yep.
And then he goes in and he knocks it down and drills beans in it.
Yeah, they use that to break up the soil. That's a
Yeah. It loosens
But
the soil
he's
up.
not turning it. He's not turning it. He's just knocking it down. I guess it just rots. I
but
don't
the
know.
root system on it helps break up the soil too, Mark.
Yeah.
Got you.
The old timers plowed it up, when they had the mobile, everybody had the moldboard plows. They plowed it under, and you
Right.
use it for humus in the soil. But I don't.
Kind of like I do with crimson clover. I'll
Yeah.
roll it in the ground.
Same idea.
Yeah.
But he's got about 400 acres, and that I get a little honey off of that 400 acres off of that vetch. But it's generally it's over with now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
A large
3 or
display
4
was
weeks
really
there. It does pretty good.
There's
I'd like to get
little
some
left
bees
around.
a little closer to it, just get them right there up next to it.
Yeah, you got to be careful, because is he mowing it down or is he burning it down with chemicals?
He's rolling it down.
Oh, he's rolling it down.
Yeah, like it's not a roller like a mow roller. It's got blades
Yeah.
that go this way, and it rolls. That's all I can tell you. I've not watched him do it, but I've seen it after he done it.
He's trying to get back in good graces out here, Tom. Todd is. He's trying to claim the Missourian, but we're not going to let him back in unless he starts operating a little differently. He'd fit right in with them dirty side guys over on the dirty side of the river anyway.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Matt, you're right about that. Clover puts
He's been
the
a good
nitrogen
one.
back in the soil.
Matt and I met Ricky with the nukes Saturday morning. Ricky came out from North Carolina. Ricky Rourke.
Mm-hmm.
Now, them guys got some nukes together, and we took and met him down there. Well, within about 20 miles, came in Reynolds' house. It's Lebanon, Tennessee, is where we met Ricky and his wife Saturday morning, and transferred the bees. So they all got a new home in North Carolina someplace now.
Yeah. So Dean had alfalfa field go into flower this week, and the bees were all over it. He said they loved it.
Well, some of it around me anymore is GMO too, that the bees won't hardly work it. But most of these guys cut it before it blooms anyway. So
yeah, when they first start to see that bloom forming, that's when they cut it.
Yeah.
If they can.
Yeah, if they can get to it. So.
They won't let me in over there, Todd. That dirty side boys, they keep banning me from crossing the river. I have to get a passport to get into misery.
No GMO. Okay.
Alfalfa honey's good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it used to make good honey, but that's before the GMO stuff took off.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure
Same
that
way.
it does. A lot of it does that much anymore.
It's the same way with them beans, you know.
Yeah, it is.
They said back in the day they make 5 or 6 deep boxes of honey off them beans. Now they'd be lucky to get 2 or 3.
Well, that's
shallows.
what my old pappy called the Virginia beans. We made hay out of it as I was a kid. Man, you talk about some nasty stuff, Bill. Itchy.
Yep, you're right.
Balers.
Yep. Yep, you're right. It was some nasty stuff. That's almost like working straw.
The bees would work them, but they had the white bloom on them. The bees worked the heck out of them. So did the bumblebees.
Mm-hmm.
Back in me moonboard plowed, and I've been run off the tractor many times plowing through them bumblebee nests out there
in the field.
Yep. Plowing down clover and beds and stuff like that, because that's what they did for humus. Anymore, they just no-till everything, spray it, and kill it.
Well, we're kind of getting away from the no-till. Yeah. We still do some, but not a lot like we did, because the fields have gotten so compacted from no tillage at all for 30, 40 years. And they were complaining last year about not being able to get the planter in the ground because it was so hard. And I looked at him and said, well, you need to start tillage. And so
that's good, I'd say.
Well, good. And this year we were doing tillage.
Yeah. I'm all for tillage, but that don't make it profitable for these big time sodbuster farmers.
That's true. It doesn't.
They got to do what they can do they got to farm the government. That's what I say.
Yep. They get in there. They get it planted as fast as they get it planted, and get out.
Get out so they can go to Florida for the winter.
Yep. You're right.
I look at it like it's a big gamble anymore.
Yeah, it is.
They've got insurance, but insurance spends their time to get out of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, Mark, that federal crop insurance, and I've got some of it. I'm not being, but I tell you what, you can't lose money with federal crop insurance. It's almost an impossibility.
Yeah.
It is. It's hard to lose money with it, JW. But if
how do I get that on my bees?
You can.
You can get it on your bees.
You can.
Yes.
Okay.
especially if the state that you live in considers the honeybee as livestock.
Yeah.
They livestock. Yeah.
All right, because so you can get the NAP insurance and you can get the ELAP insurance, but you got to stay on top of the paperwork. Just like JW and I have to do, you have to give them a monthly report on your acres and everything else, and you send it in because they track all that stuff. You
I
got to
don't
do
do
this.
it. I give my tenant farmers a power of attorney. They
Yeah.
sign my papers. I don't sign.
Exactly.
mess with it.
So you need to track all that. Hive loss, hive gain, bee loss, bee gain. Now they consider the bees separate from the hives, from the boxes. If you say you had a colony loss, you got to be very specific. Did you lose the bees or did you lose the bees and the boxes? Because you get paid for both. So you got to be very specific in the paperwork. So
I've never messed with it. I wasn't even aware of it, to be honest with you.
So do you have to diagnose the reason for the colony loss?
Yep. And depending upon your state, like here in Virginia, they want you to call the state apiarist to come out and diagnose it because they want a copy of his report.
Yeah.
So you just have to go in and talk to USDA.
Yeah. Well, that's what I try to avoid.
Yeah.
Anything to do with Lord, around here, to sign up for some of these programs, you got to show them a copy of your deeds and the whole bit, and I'm not going there. It's none of their business.
So if you got somebody that's leasing your land, all they got to do is show them the lease. So it's not that bad. In Virginia, it's $125 a year for both.
You mean the flat charge?
Yep, flat charge.
I'll be dang. No wonder we're all broke. Country's broke. I'm giving you guys out there in Virginia all that free money. Just
yeah, right. I haven't gotten any yet. I've turned in losses 2 years in a row. I haven't gotten any yet.
Lobbying for commercial beekeepers to get $75 a hive that overwinters. Yeah, that sounds like a heck of a good deal there.
But you have to meet the criteria, the state criteria to be considered a commercial beekeeper. Depends on what state you're in. Like Virginia, you have to have 200 plus hives to be considered a commercial beekeeper. Unless
qualify for these programs, is that what you're saying?
No, to get that $75 a hive for every hive that makes it through the winter.
Yeah.
Now, unless you can prove that you're a commercial queen breeder. If you're a commercial queen breeder in Virginia, you don't have to meet that requirement of 200 hives. But there's other requirements that you have to meet as well.
I'm a not-for-profit beekeeper myself. I don't do it intentionally, but that's the way it turns out.
Right. So.
Well, I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Charlie Leonard's my neighbor. He's just down the road about 20 miles from me. So he's a big-time lobbyist for the commercial. Oh, what's that other? What's the other commercial association?
ABF.
ABF, yes, he's a big.
And then there's the Honey Producers Association, HPA or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, Charlie writes in articles for the Bee Journal, but he's a big advocate for the commercial beekeepers. I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
He runs about 3,000 to 5,000 hives about all the time.
Yeah.
Does a lot of pollinating melons in Indiana, and cranberries in Wisconsin, and almonds in California. I don't think he sends anything up in the Northwest to the apples and stuff, or comes back through the Dakotas, but he may.
Roy said we need to get you some USAID
I
money.
guess I'll take it, Roy. Yep. I'm on the mooch for anything free. I'll take it all. I'm not proud.
Well, when you get yours, JW, send some of it to me.
Yeah. Well, I surely got something that would qualify for all them programs they put it out. I've surely got I don't know, sex change operation coming up or something. I could get some USAID money for. So, yeah, you're about right there, Russell. Northern Russell's giving me. He's going to tune in on me now. I don't have a pink hair or a dress. I've actually got a dress or two I can pop on if I can still get in it. It may be too tight for my old big belly anymore.
Oh man, you got to show up down in Nobby in that thing.
Yeah, with pantyhose on.
Yeah.
We went to Tim and Hannah Blake down there in Alabama, southern Alabama. It runs the Gunline Bee folks, you know, Tim and Hannah.
Yeah.
They had a little old odd line honey. You know, people sent them their honey, and they had, well, in fact, the bless their heart, the Reverend and Mrs. that was associated with their church anyway. They got them to come in and judge it, you know, and Northern Russell, he ended up being one of them, and Philip Morris, you know, and I raised thunder with them. I said, they didn't even judge my honey. They said, well, how did you send it? I said, well, I emailed it to you. You didn't get it? So they sent me, they said, well, we'll give you a consolation award. And they sent me, they went to these kids at, I don't know, Burger Chef or one of them places, had a little old king crown, the paper cream crown. They sent that to me and sent me, it was a big old wad, probably 2,000 pieces of paper, and it was counterfeit money. You know, I said this deal was all rigged. You give that money to Koopman, and I was going to wear it. I took a red towel and made me like a robe.
Yeah.
and took safety pins and it was all $100 bills, or there was, you know, there was kid play money.
Yeah.
$100 bills, but I put them $100 bills in that. And Philip Morris, he had made him up one too, and we was going to wear it down there at Nobby last year. We never did get around to doing it. So. If I think so crazy anyway, with them about half. So.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Nobby ought to be pretty good this year, I hope.
Yeah, he's talking bigger and better. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. You're trying to get me banned now. They're after me again.
Yeah, they are.
Well, I'm going to
Tom's been after you steady tonight.
I'm going to go to bed on you. We don't have anything bee-wise to talk about, so I just sit here and lie to folks.
No, we talked about it most of it earlier.
Yeah.
So I know I talked to Mark today. He brought out a good point. I hadn't forgotten it, but I'm glad he reminded me anyway. If you're trying to rear queens this time of year and being as hot as it's been, if you've got them capped in there, you better get a cage around them or do something with them, because they're going to hatch out early because of the heat and humidity right now.
Yeah, I'd say that'd be true too. I don't know that much about it, but I'd say it's going to pop them early.
Yep, it will. It'll pop them out early.
Russell, I still got my crown too, old buddy. You get down to, if we get down to Nobby, we'll have to have a who's the biggest crown or who's the biggest clown contest or something.
There you go. Let's see if we can get you up on the stage with Cayman and let him judge it.
He won't. He won't. I know him well enough too. He won't hardly get around me. I give him too much thunder. Okay, Russell. We'll have us a Honey King. Me and you and
for the protest.
Philip Morris down there. We'll have us a Honey King contest. See who the real Honey King is. I'll buy votes. I want you to know so you better come with money because I'll pay people to vote for me.
So what were you trying to say? Good enough?
I was going to say you can have a protest for the protesters. You know this no king thing going on? Now you can have a king contest at Nobby. Who's going to be the king?
Yeah, DC, that's probably why you had early queens, because you're probably warmer than you normally are.
Right. At least a day early usually.
Yeah.
When it's hot.
Yep. And if it's hot and humid, it may be up to 2 days early. Yep. I've seen that happen. They finish out a lot quicker.
You think that's good or bad?
I don't see no difference in them.
That can't be good for them, can it?
I don't see any difference in them.
I really don't see any difference in them either. I mean, as long as they make it at least 10 days, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom, actually, we can definitely do that.
They're pretty good honey producers because they're so late, you know?
Yeah.
So if you can get them mated and get them back, that's the problem.
Yep. Is getting them back.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be my concern around here, right? From now on, heck, I've actually got, and I can take pictures of it. People think I'm lying, and I'll post them. I've actually got dragonflies that sit on top of my beehives, waiting on the bees to come, to catch one.
Yep.
Sitting there waiting on them, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. We got 3 ponds on the property, and I was mowing around them over the weekend.
I noticed a couple of them yesterday.
Yep. There's dragonflies all over them ponds.
Yep.
They are hot and heavy this year.
And the doggone little old barn swallows flying there, darting every place. So then them queen bees better have their afterburners kicked in when they're trying to come back to my place. Cause they got a lot of predation going on to half of them.
Yeah, I got this run of queens coming out, and I'll probably do 1, maybe 2 more grafts, and then I'll be done for the year. So, because I'm
gonna get off there and eat supper.
Here you.
Did you fix me any?
I got a piece of chicken to be on it.
Yeah, you're a little bit too far away.
Heck, you're gonna eat right there in front of us.
You can email it to me.
I was gonna say that you can email it. Yep.
That's a little bit rude and crude, Mark Miller. That eating in front of you. You're not supposed to eat in front of your guest.
I know it.
Got that mic all nice and close too, so we can hear him chewing.
Yeah,
I got some potted meat I gave you.
I'd get back there in the back end if I was down there. I'd be eating some of that bacon.
Who made the potted meat?
Pretty good, don't it?
Who made the potted meat, Mark?
I guess that'd be Armor. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yeah. Potted meat. Yeah, I'll get back there and get me some sausage biscuits every now and then.
Yeah.
Throw them in the microwave.
Yep.
We had BLTs for supper the other night.
Oh man.
Fresh tomatoes.
I was gonna say fresh tomatoes and bacon. It's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Is them out of your garden?
Yes, sir.
Tomatoes?
Yeah, my tomatoes didn't do too good so far.
Yeah.
They
I've
had
got
too much
some ready
water.
to turn, but they're not. I don't know if I'm going to have. I always try to have a few tomatoes with 4th of July. I guess
Yeah.
I will this year. We'll see.
Mine just got way too much water. And they grew, but they turned yellow, so I ended up cutting all the limbs off of them about, I don't know, a foot or so, 2 foot.
Yeah.
So that kind of stunted them, but maybe they'll take off growing.
No, they said that's what to do. The so-called tomato growing experts say to trim them up. You know.
Yeah, that's what they say. It keeps the tomatoes off of the ground.
I
Now,
don't know.
see that VF post there, that potted meat. Now he's kind of he's a little bit on the picky side on his eating. He wants all, if it's not a filet mignon or
T-bone or
T-bone or big ribeye or something like he'll give you all that.
so is that true, Tom? Are you that picky?
So I take it he don't
young.
eat sauerkraut.
Roy says Tom's too young to remember potted meat. I remember it. That's a good meal right there.
I still eat potted meat. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's the way they used to keep it.
Yep.
and can it.
Yep.
Yeah. Lord, my mama, she canned them old river slough carp and everything else. We thought it was good.
Yeah. So, Tom, what we used to have spam in the military, and we called it mystery meat.
Yeah, I still eat spam. I like
I
spam.
love fried spam.
Yeah, well, I don't even want to fry it. I just eat it right out of the can.
Eat it raw, yeah.
Well, I can eat it right out of the can too, but I like it when it's fried too.
That's not.
You like sardines?
No, can't eat sardine.
Make them
I like sardines.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother likes them in a mustard sauce.
Head cheese, blood pudding. I've done. You eat all that.
Yep.
Kind of stuff. I got to drive to Indiana to get it, but I'll go over and buy 4 or 5. There's a little butcher shop over there that makes head cheese still from the hogs' heads.
Yeah.
I'll go over and get it. Buy 5
You
or 10.
talking about head cheese?
I'll freeze it.
JW? Head cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to make that stuff.
I've helped Mother make it. I never did do it on my own.
Hey, Tom, sauerkraut's good with spam in it too.
Got a lot of tongue in it. Tongue's good meat, actually.
Yeah.
Liver cheese, I made that.
Yeah, I don't care for that.
Some of it we called it blood sausage or blood pudding.
Yeah.
Liver loaf.
Yeah.
now we're going to have to show our expertise on as dietitians here.
Yeah. Now Roy's a meat cutter, so
I do like beef tongue, and I like chicken gizzards too.
Yeah. Well, it's 9:45, everybody.
Yep, I don't blame you. I'm about to run out of anything to say, and that's unusual.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
we're talking about chicken gizzards.
Hey, bees and poultry go together. If you just ask Man Lake, bees and poultry go together.
Well, I guess
We don't
that's
eat, we
right.
don't eat the bees.
I think maybe Daydan even sells a few
I
poultry
don't know if
spots.
they've gotten started selling poultry or not yet. But, excuse me. Yep, tomorrow's gonna be another hot one over here. Calling for 101 degrees.
Yeah, that's what they're. I'm down to 86 finally.
Yeah, this weekend they're calling for rain. So
Sun's finally got down. It's dropping a little bit.
yeah.
I'm fine with it as long as my AC works.
So is Tom Mack still on here, or did he get off?
I have no idea. I haven't seen his post for a little bit.
Hey Tom, if you're still on here, are you going to be on Wednesday night this week?
Wednesday night this week.
I know they were on last week. I know Tom was on last week.
Oh, him and Nancy a little earlier. He I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. So, well, I do appreciate everybody coming out. If you enjoyed it tonight, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe. It helps us all hang around a little bit longer and have some more fun. It's been a good chat tonight. So
folks, don't hold it against him because I'm on here, because I didn't plan on getting on. So don't hold it against poor old Tom. You see me on here.
All right. Well, y'all have a good evening. Have a good week. Be good to your bees. They'll be good to you. And Wednesday night is Tom and Nancy. I'm not sure if they'll be on this week or not. And Friday night is Sawmill Charlie. And I'll see you Friday night. Y'all have a good week. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Good night.